was it. And plus, it was too late. They're not going to make it to stay in Oakland. Those teams about to move. And just dying, you know what I mean? And it's so hard to make themselves together, because all those great legendary players that have been going through big, but not so big at all, because all those lost streaks, like Donald Foyle, Andres Beatrice, and Sonny Parker, and C.B. Floyd, and he had a dude named Joe Parvis, you know what I mean? Nothing gets bigger, you know what I mean? But for Golden State Warriors, it's all like Rick Barry, you know what I mean? Rick Barry was been there because that he betrayed himself a lot, because that team, before it was Golden State Warriors, used to be in San Francisco like the 60s at that time when Rick Barry was there. But he wanted to decide to have the team, to create a team for Oakland Oaks with Jim Federer and that singer Pat Boone, to make it all together to win a championship since 1969. And they won against the Denver Nuggets, but it was so stupid. How Rick Barry's going to combine that team together with San Francisco Warriors and Oakland Oaks to a Golden State Warriors. It's so stupid. And I don't know why this team is making lots of losses. It's stupid. But however, they won like 2 championships. Like it did like 1975, and they didn't come make a comeback before it's too late to have Golden State Warriors to make lots of losses, which is that they won in 2015 since Steph Curry was there and Draymond Green, Clay, David Lee, the others, but nothing's gonna get bigger. Nothing's all like excited for that team because they did so much better back in the past, but especially when they did what We Believe, it was too much culture around here. Since all the losses there have been badly since the 80s, the 90s, like late 90s, and 2000s is also. These teams didn't make it too much big at all, especially in the early 2010s. They didn't make it that big at all. That's because this team was so heartless. That's because they're taking lots of losses, streaks. So that's the problem with the Warriors, you know. And those guys are going completely dead to me. You know what I mean? Golden State Warriors, they're just not focusing on some great players, you know what I mean? They just have to keep dying and keep losing together. And this is what happens with Golden State Warriors trying to get this big, but not that big at all, because that team was like too small and very losses at the time, especially with the Raiders and the A's. But A's was like the biggest championships at the time since the 70s, when Oakland A's was there. Especially they won in the World Series at that time since 1989 against the Giants. That's stupid. That's because the Moneyball era took everything over. But I don't care. But you made me you treat me like a baby. And this is why the Oakland A's have been too much streaks a lot. But at the most of the matter of time, I just don't have an idea, because Oakland A's has a pain zone, a real big pain. But somebody needs to move this team, because this team has lots of pain. You know, we need the help for the A's to move, please. Because if they don't have to, they need to stay in Oakland, because that's the 10-year warranty. Because it says here that rest in peace, Oakland Coliseum and Oakland Arena. It might be dying till at the age of 55. And this stadium's not going to make it. And plus, this stadium needs help. If they didn't make it, it's going to make lots of losses. And that team says about the A's, it says, rest in peace. Hope we survive the city. That's what they represent between Oakland and San Francisco. This is how Golden State Warriors has been represented towards the A's, because they both related in Philadelphia, but Raiders don't, because this team has the greatest greatest team that the whole time that we renovate to. You know what I mean? Because all those two teams, they made themselves together. And they beloved together. Especially when Jim Federer and Charlie Wall finally, they were like very good friends. And they loved to give them joy because without Franklin, well, he's not doing it because he had committed to quit and retire because that's not his decisions. You know what I mean? He wanted to retire badly, especially with all Adams and that's it. You know what I mean? And he just didn't want that no more. But Phil Smith used to be in the San Francisco Warriors, but he played with Golden State at that time. But he didn't want to play because. But he was a great player. I like him as a player, but I don't know why. I don't know why Golden State Warriors was just come out with some great players, but it's just too much for them though. And I don't know why, because this is a greatest intern team I've ever seen. And they make the greatest team and the greatest players so much when they have Golden State Warriors. But Raiders have the same thing too with the A's and the Warriors, but different because Raiders are here in California because they're made out of pride and pose, and that's where like brown pride people live there the whole time, like Southern people, midterm people, without Northern California people like 49ers, but Raiders are like brown pride people, like lots of Mexican people love the Raiders. You know what I mean? And and even blacks too. You know what I mean? That's what most people love it, and sometimes Americans. That's why most people love it, except for Asians. Because Asians, they like 49ers. I don't know why. How weird. But this team is the greatest team in the whole wide world. The greatest Hispanic team at that time. But I just want to say this team that you're the greatest team in the whole wide world. But ever since you won the Super Bowl at that time, since like you just made it for the conference at that time, that was all like 1967 to 2002. But it's a great thing how to make this big out of laws. It's like when they won like 5 circumferences championships. It was a very big deal than the 49ers. You know what I mean? Because 49ers are leaping low. You know what I mean? But leaping big, but leaping low. You know what I mean? And this is why the Raiders, this team make it bigger at the whole time. You know what I mean? And that's what's up. And that's how the Raiders became commitment to excellence. And this is how this greatness team to make Oakland better. You know what I mean? Just like those two teams. But Raiders are different because they're having an argument with those two teams, like Al Davis. But I don't know why Al Davis is not controlling themselves together, because he's from Los Angeles. But he takes control with his great new partner for the Oakland Raiders. And this is why they represent great players, but they have too many losses. You know what I mean? And they got back to Oakland since like in 1995 from Los Angeles. So they've been stayed there for like 21 years at that whole time for this team. But it's completely too much losses. But I don't know what's going on. But you will see all the greatest legendary for the Raiders, like Jim Otto, Cliff Branch, and Marcus Allen, and plus Tim Brown, Jerry Porter, and Russell Reese, and last but not least, the only one player that that he's taken all the way to the top and the greatest leader of the Oakland Raiders before we shall lead to the final season, Darren McFadden! Woo! This is why we need to make Oakland better. And this is what it is, you know? We want this team to make Oakland better. You know what I mean? Because we need to feel about this to have this great team to make Oakland better. But this leader right now for Golden State Warriors is all about Steph Curry. And I don't know why Steph Curry is there. But he's going to have to trade or something, because Because if he wants to stay in Oakland, he shouldn't have to fuck himself or something. I don't know, damn. So we'll have to see what happens with Steph Curry, but but I felt that those Oakland players are not just going big no more. Well, Charles Wilson was there, Steph Curry was there, and A's was Coco Crisps. But I heard Coco Crisp wants to retire sooner because until the last season until the next seasons and shit.